Chako here, reporting for Dubs Customs, down in central Saskatchewan, visiting some friends of ours. You know, we talk about trying to find these cars with stories behind them to bring them back out and get them restored and get them back on the road. And I'll tell you what, there's some stories behind some of these cars I'm going to show you here, and we're going to go take a look. So like I was saying, we're here in central Saskatchewan. Got buddy Clint here. Got cars all over this family farm of his that he's had. And how many years have you had this land for?
I've had it for 20 some years now.
And before that?
This is my grandparents and my dad's parents and
typical family farm in Saskatchewan, eh?
Yeah, this was little acreage that was given from my grandpa.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a look at some of these cars, and we're going to start with this one right here. And I think you guys are going to be impressed with this one. And what do we got here, Clint?
Well, this is my dad's Meteor. This one was my mom and dad's wedding car. They got married in it. It was their pride and joy car. And dad, well, you can see there's a tin on the roof. He tinned this barn. It was a farm barn for cows. And then he got sick with cancer. And then last thing he asked me was to put this car in this. He tinned the roof and he said, put this car in there.
So this one was a special one to him.
This was his request. That was the car. That's the motor he wanted for it right now.
Got a spare motor on the side?
He had for it. He had everything planned. He wanted to keep it out of the rain and weather and sun. So I was working rigs, and I brought one of my rig buddies home, and we cleaned this thing out. It was full of just everything. And we wheeled her in here, and it's been sitting now for probably, I'd say, good 15, 20 years in here.
And she looks like she's in still pretty decent shape.
I could probably put a pressure washer to her and she'd look pretty shiny. But the motor was what was the problem, I think, when Dad parked it. And then he bought this motor, had not much kilometers on it. And that was his plan, was to put that motor in this car. But
beautiful.
Time goes quick.
Wow, this is a good one. It looks like you got her well covered anyway. She looks a little rough, but
well, I don't know where the leaves are getting in here, though, and stuff. They're getting in through the sides, but I think I haven't had time to get looking too close. But
and what year was this?
This would be in the mid-60s.
Mid-60s.
Yeah, this was their pride and joy, my mom and dad. They always talked about their Meteor. And when I was young, it was a big, long car, so I wasn't really as excited as I think now we could. Oh, I can get a door open. Yeah.
Well, we'll take a look here.
See if I can get around to this side and have a peek in the interior. This side, more room. And this is a T-bird hood.
Oh yeah.
That's something that's an old farm lady. I found it on her farm. Well, actually, the interior, I think she's holding up pretty good. Yeah.
In through the bushes here, Clint. Looks like we got an old GMC. What's the story on this one?
Well, this one my dad got from, he was a school bus driver, and he got it from one of the guys he drove school bus with. And then he told me, this is what first motor I pulled out. And I was learning. So I was probably 12, 13 years old, and I pulled the motor out of it. And I was going to put a motor in it. Never did ever get a chance, but I was pretty excited, but lack of money and funds when you're that age, so I was getting it ready, and then but it was a pretty cool truck. And actually this interior is I just thought this orange dash and the orange everything would be just it would just be the mint
oh, she's beauty for sure.
She would and it had the wood, well, it's got the small back window, the wood box, which is a little more work to do it, but it's it's priceless what they look like when they're done. And so I tinkered around, and then life got busy, so we left this one for a while.
Yeah, she looks like she's been sitting here for a bit, bud.
Yes.
But all in all, in really good shape.
It's all together though. Everything's there. It's got a good. This one would have been this would be my pick of these years of trucks. I sure like this one.
Awesome. Well, let's continue on down this adventure here.
Yes.
What do you got over here? We look like we got a few beauties sitting here.
Well, we got my Plymouth. It was my dad's. This was the one that everybody in Hazeldale, little town that I grew up in, said that they knew Dad because this is the one he used to make cookies with. Well, I guess power turns back then were called cookies. And he took my old Baba for a ride in this one. And when he was 16, he had made the cookies and made her scream. But funniest part of this car, I think he started dating my mom too when he had it. And so he was already wiring and doing stuff that there's lights all over in that thing, but
and he put those in himself?
yeah.
Oh yeah?
So he was ripping. This
Already
was just,
customizing.
imagine that many years ago, and that was the teenager cart. So what this one would look nice is washed up with some clear coat and kept that patina.
Yeah, keep the
Nice
patina
tires
look.
and rims.
You know, the front end on these vehicles, I tell you.
The chrome.
Yeah.
And everything there is just no, they're a neat car. Definitely a lot of these got squished and people just farmyards got cleaned out with them. And to have them yet is quite a thing.
Oh, for sure. And what do we got over here?
Well, this is my grandpa's truck. My cousin actually from Toronto came. It was my uncle owned it, my grandpa had it, my uncle got it, and then my cousin came from Toronto, and he did auto body courses. So he started fixing it and priming it and doing all the work to it, and then so that was one summer he just spent the time on it, and then it got left, and then I bought the farm, and so it stayed. But this is the 7 window. This is the one that everybody wants. This is the girl.
Oh, look at the window wrap around the back
Yeah.
end here.
And look at the nice blue visor in the front. It goes on the front of it. It's still stuck behind there. All the parts are with it. And that fan, I remember when they were shingling my grandma's roof of the house. This fan, me and my brother, we rode with my uncle in here, and this fan was turning, and we thought it was the coolest thing. And that's one memory I won't forget.
And did that come with the vehicle, or is that something that they put in
I
there?
think somebody put them in. I think they never
Alright.
had not much then, and somebody had a little fan.
Love the glass. 7 window. So what is this here? What are we looking at?
Well, this is GMC.
Oh,
This would be a
GMC, eh?
50, probably 52.
It looks like it had the wood box as well.
Yeah, oh yeah. They all had that wood grain and all that, but it really looks nice actually when they're done too. But this one's all, this kind of one stayed with the farm for many years.
I like it. And the last one we have here, we're gonna, well, not the last one, second to last one. We're gonna save this one for a little bit of a story, because there's more of a story to this one here that we're gonna save a little bit later. So just stay tuned.
It's gonna be.
An old Betty Blue over here.
Wow, this is my Guido's truck, the farm truck. And my dad was parking stuff, and he always made a spot to park them and stuff, and then we've been slowly bringing them out and just getting them back out onto all the trees and everything. So we've been kind of bringing them out, and I always thought, geez, this one's in rough shape, but actually, because it was peeling, but really, it actually isn't as bad as what I kind of thought. Like at the time, I was thinking, oh, that thing's just rough shape, but no, everything's to it and together. And if the guy's a project guy, these are the ones that.
You know, this fin on the back here of the cab. How cool is that?
Well, the style that they had in the 60s, and they just.
Another old wood box.
Yep. No, they. Oh, if you get that nice wood grain in there and stuff, they look good. And they are, whatever you want to do to them is you can make it. And wrap around window, you know, like they just had style. They had so much, like stuff nowadays doesn't have that look or that. Well, there's mean.
Look at the front end on that thing. That is just so cool. And yeah, like you're saying, the design of these older vehicles.
Yeah, and there was ones I grew up and I thought, oh, that's not that cool. And then now, as I'm getting older, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, that is cool. like there was ones that I thought, oh, I don't know if I'd save or do what with, but now this one, I'm sure looking at it like it's got the right stuff to it.
Yeah.
And my neighbor down the road's got another one that matches it. So I've been trying to get them to sell it to me.
Oh, that's awesome. And what do we got over in the back here? This looks like an old Cornet.
This is the Cornet. This is my dad's and mom's family car that I drove down back roads to go visiting people, and there was no air conditioning, no nothing. I remember every dusk would come in and we'd sit in the back seat, us kids, and I would be choking and coughing. But then Dad eventually, when it was parked from a family car to just going to get parked, the water pump went, and Dad told me, he said, if you can get it running, when I was 12 years old, he said, if you can get it running, you can have it. So I ripped out the water pump. I didn't know nothing about water pumps or anything, but we found a water pump. I stole one off another old vehicle we had and stuck it in there, and he gave it to me, and I started her up, and I was driving her, and it was fun. And then I decided, well, I'm going to rip the fenders off, strip her down, took the doors off, and it was going to be my dune buggy.
You know, it's good to see that, you know, you got these cars, and they're not just cars you've just acquired. They're cars that have been in your family.
Yeah. Well, this one took, on the highway down the road here, me and my buddy neighbors, they had an old truck too. They'd come out to the highway. We'd do smoke shows till we'd go to the actual dump yard and grab tires that held air, and we put them on there. We'd go smoke them off, and then we videoed them and did just this thing. This is why I like Dodges, because this is the one I tortured to. It was tortured. It was worn out when I got it, and I tortured it to the max, and it never did actually quit. It just got parked.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I put it through pain, but no. And then I always wanted a two-door, so I always thought this one would be parts for a two-door.
So moving further into the back 40 here, come across this Dodge here.
Yes.
What's the story on this one?
This was one that was my uncle's. On my dad's side. Anyways, they had me and my cousin. We used to talk about these Dodges when we were in, like, my dad had a kind of a toothpaste green kind of one, and they had this one, and we talked about them, and we thought we had cool Dodge trucks when we were kids in elementary school. And I never forgot about this one. And then so happens that we're renting some land, and we're doing some stuff with my auntie, and that truck is sitting in the bushes. And I asked Auntie if, well, what do you want to do with it, or what's the plan and stuff? And then she said, no, if you're interested in it, you can take it. So we did some dealing, and we brought it home here, and I turned it over. Everything's there. I think it needs fuel pump is what I'm going to have to put in it, but it's going to be a runner. And it was something that was, my whole life I looked at this truck. They hauled water. They come to town, they'd get water. They had a big tank in the back, and I passed my uncle all the time on the road.
And how fun was it that, you know, at one point these were the daily drivers?
Yeah, this is the farm truck. This actually originally was a SaskPower truck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the orange and the whole. But you know, when you look in the side, so you could do like lots of stuff to the outside, but the inside, when she got the old Dodge look to her, and I think she's going to be one that.
Nice.
I think we can get this bugger running, and I'll probably drive it to work.
Again, the bones are all there.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's just, even if they're not actually completely done nice or done completely, but just to be driving them and have that old school.
And what year do you figure this one is?
Oh, this one was 1971.
71?
70 or 71.
71.
It's the same, pretty much the same year as my. But I thought at first I would put a four-wheel drive chassis under it and make her big, old school, big. Because with the long box, it's a little bit.
It is. It's got a step side long box, right?
Yeah.
Like.
So I thought, well, I could just make her mean and and then I don't know. Even now, I'm starting to think long boxes aren't even looking that bad. When we were young, we thought long boxes weren't cool, but everything's looking pretty good now with the.
So I noticed you got the old Dodge here.
Well, this Dodge has many stories. It's been probably my. Well, this is the one probably when I went from my when I started pipelining and rigging. That was the one that took me everywhere. So I pulled a 28-foot Prowler camper all over. Went to the farthest we went was Dawson Creek, BC, and from Saskatchewan, that's quite a. You went fast down the hills and barely made it up the other ones, but she did it and it never quit on me. And this has been my trooper, and it actually people, friends. Once I even got other vehicles, better, newer vehicles. This thing kept on running and just kept on. I kept ordering it to friends and family and stuff, and it never ever. It was like the savior for many people. Like it was just a good truck, and so now.
So what's you got all these vehicles, Clint? Like what are you doing with them all, bud?
Well, this one somebody's picked it.
Who's someone?
Yeah, my oldest girl, and she's been pretty excited about it. And I thought, well. She's got all choice of any vehicle she wants to hear, and this one kind of, some reason,
I like Dodges.
and you like the old Dodges, don't you? And this one has a foot pedal. It's got this one, if we can open the door, it's got, this was my sportier, it was done good. It was like, it had the nice exhaust, it had the, and actually, I forgot where my truck riders went, but if you look behind here,
Oh yeah,
they're still there.
So these are your younger ripping up down the road.
Yeah,
music cranking. Yeah, I got it.
This was the one that I ended off. This is probably my last real rodeo with this truck. And Trin, she kind of said, out of the blue, she told me this is the one she'd like to, and then I think we could definitely do something with it too.
Well, I think that's a great story, Trini, and it's a good pick. These Dodges are just powerhouses.
Well, this one actually, it just did things like I could never imagine now to hook up and go to BC with a truck like of this age or this, and at that time I was just like, I gotta go to work. Let's go.
Right on.
And we did her.
Right on. All right, well, let's keep pushing through. Good pick, Trini. So we come across the next batch of vehicles here, and I notice this beautiful one here. What's the story on this one?
Well, this one actually I bought. We went to get a head gate from a farmer by, I guess it'd be by Kenora, Saskatchewan. And anyway, so we went there, $75 for a head gate, and I seen there's a row of vehicles, and I kind of inquisitive. I says, "What are you doing with all those vehicles? Can I look at them?" And he's like, "Well, the wrecker's coming, and they're whatever. I think it's $20 or $25 for a vehicle at the time." And I said, "Well, I'm probably interested in quite a few of them." And so he said, "Well, wrecker price, whatever they're given." And this one had a Muncie transmission in it. And so I looked, and I'm like, "Well, I need that transmission anyways." And the truck itself is very together. So I ended up getting it, and me and a buddy, we were going to go to, had it running, everything was good, and the darn fuel tank was rusty, I guess, and so we were going to go to Yorkton and go chase girls, but we ended up getting not even halfway there, and it stalled and quit, and then that was the end of it. But got the transmission out. Now it needs a motor and transmission, but everything's there, and this one had the wood box too. So I think with the interior, these doors, but everything is just, these are ones that I want the girls to decide if they want a truck or not, or a car.
Well, I see you got another one of your beautiful daughters
So
with you here.
this is the one that my Skyly she picked.
Skyly, is this one you chose? How come you chose this one?
Because I really like the color of it and how like the shape of it. It's just like it's in a good condition and everything, and I want to help Dad fix it up, and yeah.
Oh, I think that's great. Yeah. No, you know what? Liking a truck for color and shape, that's where it starts. Working with your dad, rebuilding things. That's great.
To get into there and start doing the whole process of building a truck, and I've been myself. I've been kind of saving up to do this with the girls, and even if they get boyfriends, I guess one time down the road, at least there's something they can do, and I don't know. It's hard to see them getting squished off the old farms, and there's a lot of value in these things.
Oh, I just, for years that I've been coming to see you, buddy, I had no idea you had all these gems sitting in the back, and to hear the stories of the daughters, and just for everybody to know there, Clint has 4 beautiful daughters, and each of them are going to be able to choose their vehicle of choice, 1, maybe 2, and you know, they're gonna work on them, hopefully with Daddy one day, and whatever it is. But it's a great story. Can't wait to see more. Let's keep pushing through.
Yeah, well, the Ventura. So this one.
Oh, we got a Pontiac.
This is the car that I think Chad should get.
Yeah, you thinking this is for me, is it?
Yeah, this is the one that. So Larissa's my wife's grandma. It was on her farm, and the farm was cleaned out. Everybody moved out of the farm, and it was done with. Got sold out, and they said go clean out what you want, and this car was left there, and I'm like, wow, this car is way too good to be left. And I asked Grandma what she wanted. She said $100, so I bought it $100, and I went there with the air compressor, batteries, gas, anything, oil, whatever it needed, what I thought maybe that it would run. And then there's old grain bins with spark plug wires, I guess, and all that stuff, and everything was stripped off the motor. I started just stabbing stuff on, and actually my wife's dad, at that point, he was just amazed. He said, I can't even believe that you got this thing running. And we drove it home, and it was full of junk in the back. It was weighted down so bad they were using it for storage. And me and the wife's little cousin and 2 little cousins, I think, or no, little brother and little cousin, they were in the car, and we drove it all the way here, and started a few times, and now it's been staying. But these ones are like, this is a cool car, actually. This one needs big rubber in the back, and sticking out and jacked up, and but the trees, like, they don't take long for these buggers to grow.
No, they don't, for sure.
Yeah, but this is a nice car. This would be like
Always a fan of the Pontiac.
yeah, and it's got the hatchback, which
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in this.
yeah, this would be the one. This is the hot rod. This is a hot rod car.
Oh, it's beautiful. All right, and the trip continues. You got a lot of nice square box. I see we got a GMC over there. We got the old Silverado over there. What's the story? What's the plan with these guys?
Well, these ones were kind of bought as donor trucks. Like, I was at a farmer's yard, and this one was a farmer's, I guess, work truck, and then it was parked, and then he said that he'd sell it to me for a record price, because he had the records. They were going to come squish everything he had in there, and well, I said, oh, I'll buy it, and all I had to do was put a battery in it and gas, and I started it up and drove it home.
So what was the wrecker's price though? What was it going for?
It was $20, $25.
You bought that for 20 bucks.
Yeah.
Put a battery in it and drove it home.
And drove it home yet. And actually, right now, the only thing is, I had mags on it, I had rims. We drove it around, and put the stereo in it. I drove it to Yorkton and wherever. And no, it's a good truck. It was getting rusty, but I needed for my, because I got a 78 short box step side. And the reason I was kind of lining these square bodies up is because I needed separate parts for that, my step side and this grill. This is why I bought this one. As soon as I seen it, this grill and this front bumper and the whole works, the square lights, this is why I bought this truck. And then the cab itself is actually really nice. Like if I strip off the doors, there's good parts on this one. Like there's stuff that the box is bad and whatnot, but the whole there's lots of good pieces. So and to think, and this is what's happening to all the farmyards now around Saskatchewan, is their money and steel's worth something, and everybody's squishing them, but there's not gonna be nothing left of these. A lot of nice stuff went. And now when I think of them, because some of the stuff that maybe wasn't nice at the time is actually starting to be collectible too.
Oh, for sure. And
Yeah.
you mentioned a 78 step side.
Yeah, that's my the one I bought in I went to work railroad in Vancouver when I graduated from in Saskatchewan here, and then so I went to work for Nortrack Railroad, and had some buddies up there in Vancouver, Richmond, and well, there was a Cornet, a '67 Cornet, which was my kind of my dream car, canary yellow, and but it was $6,500, and $6,500 is pretty big at that time. And then there was a '78 GM or Chevy step side, and it was only $1,800, so I kind of went with the cheaper one and bought that, and it had 411 gears in the back, and then I started working at railroad and getting rained on and heat, and I was like, well, I think I should go back to Saskatchewan, work rigs, go to Alberta. So I packed her up and we drove home, and just about killed me on fuel. Those big gears in there. She was a zippy little truck, but I had to switch them up, and drove it around here and partied her up with it for quite a few years, and then now it needs to get restored.
Well, good. That's good.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we get to see that one.
Yeah.
Let's keep pushing through.
All right.
Wow, you got a lot to see out here, buddy. Looking at everything, and oh, whoa, what's this, my friend?
Well, this one, this one's kind of a funny story, because it was one that some of my pipeline buddies, they were dealing with and trying to get it, and actually ended up, one of my close friends got it. But so somebody threw, this was a 6-cylinder car, they put a 440 in it, and they wrapped her into a power pole. So anyways, my buddy brought it home on a stag night. Actually, we were waiting for him to get home, and he's trying to get this car home, and we're phoning him and we're talking to him, and he's like, everybody's waiting in the town hall trying to get him to come, but didn't want to show him that we're going to actually have a stag. And he comes there and comes with this thing on a trailer, and so fine, that was all whatever. He got this thing, I think, for a couple $100, and so then my brother ended up, he had another one. He was a Cuda guy. He bought Cudas like crazy. Now he kicks himself in the butt because he gets rid of them all the time, or he did at that time, but now he can't even get one now. So anyways, he had this one, and my brother bought the car. It was a '73 Cuda. So my brother bought the car. We bought it at a good price, and it was one that nobody touched. Everybody just drove it. And then this was the parts car for it. So we stripped doors off, hoods off, whatever was good to go on that one. And then my brother actually sold that one, and this is what was left. And I kept it for, well, then it got left at the farmyard of the other place. And I'm like, well, I told my brother, I said, well, you got it with that car. I'm like, well, I'll get it here. And so I went and got it with my tractor, and so it ends up that I end up with a Cuda too. And this is my parts car, and but now I'm looking at internet and everything, and to have one of these now is actually something that's more so than the time when we were buying Cudas. So we got day 2, Central Saskatchewan, buddy Clint. We ended with the Cuda yesterday. We ended up getting into a couple wasps. Believe it or not, I got stung 6 times. We thought it's time to shut her down.
But there's too many good things to see out here, so we're gonna push through today, and we're gonna start with this right here. Clint, what do we got here, buddy? This looks like a gem.
Well, this is a 60s Pontiac. I think a lot of the GTOs had that same front end. This is like probably, it's just a beautiful front end on these cars. This one's big and long, but should be a sweet lowrider. This one. This is everything's there. It needs a motor.
And we're thinking 60s. What? 64, 65?
I would say in there. I don't know. We buggered that door. That tree got our door there, so we can't open it and see what year it is actually. But
okay. Well, if anybody else who's watching this knows what year this is, feel free to comment in the.
This was actually my mom's car.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and then my dad, somebody wanted a motor, so they were parking the car, and they had a good motor, and they sold the motor. So.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, anyways, the motor went, and then the car sat, but everything's all there. And actually, it's a pretty sweet ride. When I was younger, I thought, oh, that's a big car. I didn't think much of it, but now when I start looking at it closer, it's actually a pretty sweet ride.
This whole front end section, though, like those are one of the nicer ones for the Pontiacs for sure.
Yeah. No, that's a sweet looking car actually. And at one time the wreckers were coming here, and I thought, well, maybe that one I was going to squish, and they weren't offering very much money. And I'm like, well, no, we kept her, and it's still here, so it's good.
Well, I'm glad you did. All right, well, we're going to keep pushing through here and see what else we can find. Pushing through here. This blue one's got a story though.
This one's got a good story too. It was I actually bought it from my uncle and auntie. I was horse dealing. I liked horses lots. So, anyways, my horses kept not working out, and my auntie had this car. And instead of buying another horse, I just bought this car, and we ripped around this. Oh, it was pretty good. It had 302. Kind of at that time wasn't really the long front end. Nobody really thought it was anything too great, but I think nowadays they're I see these are getting fixed up now, and she's a pretty sweet little unit. This two-door front end, short trunk, and there's a Cornet.
Oh, you got the
Hubcap even. I have a Cornet. Well, that's that Cornet I showed earlier.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the original hubcaps for that one.
Right on.
Yeah.
This is an old Mercury.
Yeah.
Montego.
But I ended up actually pulling the motor out of this one. My buddy had a Mustang, and he needed a motor for it. So we took that motor out. He played around with it. I knew it was a good runner, and he played around with it, threw the motor in his Mustang, and then this car sat since. And actually, I think when we pulled it, it was probably a 20 below kind of day in the snowbank. He needed a motor. I said, oh, I don't think I'm going to do anything with this car, so we yanked the motor out. And then from there, now it's been sitting.
Oh, it looks like we got a 77, 78 Chev here.
This is a 78. This is the one that, this is my fun truck. This is the one that tore up this old country roads. It came from, actually, I bought it in Vancouver. I was working railroad there at Nortrack and Richmond, BC. And I had the opportunity to buy that Cornet, and Cornet was too much money, and this was, all these were dream trucks to me. I had a buddy in Hazeldale, and there's a small town here that had one of them, and I watched and seen him roast tires and do whatever with that truck, and I thought it was the coolest, and I always wanted one, so I ended up getting it, and we rocked this gravel roads out here for many years with it. This is the one that my wife wants me to fix up for her. So we've been buying donor trucks, and I got fenders, I got that hood you helped me lift, that's goes on this. So we got all the straight parts for it, but it's going to take time, but we're going to, and I got to actually, that's Muncie transmission, 4-speed for it, and my brother, he had El Camino that he bought a motor for, but guy had it out of his Chevelle. He went to a I think he went put a 396 in, and he had a 350 all done up, so I think we're going to put that motor in this one. And then...
So your daughters are all picking vehicles, and including the wife gets one too. And
the wife wants this one, and I put those little tires just to roll it around so we can move it. But yeah, this one had good stereo. It had straight pipes, dual straight pipes, no mufflers. She was loud and it snapped nice. She was a good one. And then some of those ones, the donor trucks, I got a good front end. This one hit 2 deer. So I think if we can build a shop, we will start working on these. This had 411 gears in this truck, and I drove it from Vancouver home to here, so that's 24-hour drive. And I couldn't make it to point gas station to gas station to get home. I had to carry jerry cans with me to get this one home. And it made it here, and then as soon as I got home, I'm like, I can afford this fuel, so we changed the rear end. So it's got a little higher speed now, but yeah,
well, we'll look forward to the updated.
Well, we got to do her. This is one that definitely is on my mind.
Attaboy. All right, well, let's keep on moving. So as we get close to the end of this tour, Clint, I can't help to think about that 70 Cuda that was back there that you called your parts car. That must tell me that you got another Cuda around here.
I do have a Cuda. It's actually, yeah, 71 Cuda. This one was one that I actually, as a kid, we lived in a small town in Saskatchewan, and walked to school past this thing all the time. And it was just bare bones, frame and primer. Nothing that I could see, but I just walked past and I thought this is going to be the beautifulest car that, ever. And fell in love with it, and then knew I could never touch it financially or anything. And then turns out it did come back around, and the same car that I walked past every day to school, actually one of our friends in the next town bought it, had it. He wanted to buy a Banshee quad, and at that time Banshees were pretty cool, but these old cars were still not yet, you can get them yet, I guess. And so I bought this one for $6,500.
Where is it? Where is it?
In the shed, in the tent, which I know, and that's not a good place a lot of times, everybody, with weather and this and that, but we got good shelter here, so it stays in the tent. And
oh, I see the front end already.
It's going to get a place for it. It's time. It's probably 30 years since it's been done, so it's time to get it a tear down and going over. So my wife agrees, so we're going to do her. We're going to rip her apart and put her back to make everything good again.
Well, I can't see us not ending this without firing that thing up.
Well, we'll
can we do it?
It's been probably a month, I bet you, since she's been running, but
all right.
We take her every once in a while out with the kids and let her. The kids get pretty excited, and I do too. myself, and week before the wedding I had put the motor in, had it all done, and then the people that I was ordering parts from, they were coming short of getting me all the parts I needed, and then I scrambled right at the last minute, but we got it running and we had a wedding. So
Great story, buddy.
yeah.
Well, let's try to get her pulled out here in a bit, see if we can't get her going.
Yes, we got to put some air in the tire, I see.
All right, we'll get some air in the tire and to be continued. So out of all the cars I've seen, this pink car stood out right away, and I'm sure that it's got a story that belongs to it. What
Well, all
What's
our
going
vehicles
on
here
here?
have a little bit of a story, but this one's probably the most sentimental to me. This one was a little more special. This one my dad gave me when I was probably, I was going to say kindergarten, grade 1. He let me and my brother pick out a vehicle that he had and kind of made it as fun. We picked the one we liked the most, and I ended up picking the 56 Plymouth. And so anyways, I went to school then and told every kid in school that I had a 56 Plymouth, and it was pink, and its nickname was the Pink Panther. And nobody believed me. I just draw pictures of it in school, and everybody didn't think I had a car, but actually I did have a car. And now, how many years later, I'm 44, so I still have it running, and I started it all the time, kept it going, and now my kids are actually the same age as, some of them are the same age as I was when I got it, and it's still running. We still go for drives, and it's a pretty special car. And so this one, my dad said if it was actually, he worked at bus garage, I guess. He drove school bus, and the guy that owned this prior to my dad was the bus garage, the mechanic that worked on the buses and stuff, and his daughter drove this car, and she's just in 2 towns down from us, and she always asked about it. I took it there a few times and let her go for a ride in it, and she drove it. She took it right to her dad, and her dad has now passed, and my dad has passed now, so this car is kind of special to both of us. And I kind of made the point to her that if this was my baby, and this is one she liked, and there's her baby too, so I told her if something ever happened, this would go back to her too. So,
I think that's a great story. So this one will start up and drive for us.
yeah, this one drives. This one's a runner, definitely. I actually got my cousin used it for her graduation and did a bunch of pictures with it and drove it to the grad, and then that's been a few years ago now. But anyways, that was the last time it was really kind of taken out, and so anyways, we got busy trying to get a house in here, having kids, and it got left for a while. So last summer I actually I was dedicated. I said, that's it, we're getting this thing running again, and it's got to run. So we've been so now it's dedication. It's not going to leave the yard again. It's staying running. And yeah, so, and then that parts car, I don't know if there's a white and blue one there when we first started showing you.
That's right. That's right. Yep. The one I told you there was more story to it, and here it is.
Yeah, that was the one. And that actually, I didn't think I'd ever find parts for this car, so it was getting kind of rare, and I was getting thinking, wow, geez, what can I do? And all of a sudden I seen an auction thing came in our post office in our mailbox, and there's matching car to this one, just different colors, just had everything though that I might need for this one when we start doing it. So so anyways, we got a parts car, and this one will have to definitely be running, because it was a special car that I got given from my dad. So
since we both have our families here, you're telling me this is a ride. Can we take it for a ride tonight?
yeah, we can put everybody in this one. This one you can fit a lot of people in there. It's maybe not the sawed-off hot rod that everybody likes, but it's just got a good. It's just a sweet car, and really to last this many years without, like, this rust when I was a kid was still there. Nothing's changed on this since in probably 30 years. It stayed the same, And the interior is probably with materials and stuff they go, but otherwise the car itself is very sound.
Okay, well, everyone stay tuned because we're going to take this Plymouth, the Pink Panther, out for a tune tonight, and we'll see what we can do with it.
Awesome.
So here we are in the Cuda. We're going to take her out to the pavement there and see how she runs. She's a beautiful car, so looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah, well this car is one that I've had since I was, well, 19 when I bought it. But even now I got little girls, I got 4 little girls, and the minute we started to take them down the driveway and we go for a little rip, I love my hot rods, but that smile and them flying back in the back seat is pretty, and saying more, that's pretty exciting. So all the value to me is just seeing their smiles now too and enjoying it is, and not very interested so much in these things. So we're gonna keep this one going for sure.
The old Cuda still has it.
Chako, I told you this story, and my brother got to pick a vehicle too, and we came down the road now. We're a mile down the road from my brother's house, and this is the one he picked. So this is a 658, and this is my dad's truck. It was a farm truck. They used it, they did everything with it, and had a slip tank in the back is what I remember, and it sat at my farm for a long time, and then a couple years ago I knew it was my brother's truck, so I hooked it up to the Massey tractor and we brought it here in front of his shop, and he's got the patina actually that matches the truck. It kind of rocks it. These trucks are hard to find now, and it's nice.
Well, that's great. We're running on moonlight, but I have a feeling your brother Kurt has something else to show us
Well,
here.
he's got some in the shop too that are ones he's picked up through along the way. So
All right, well, let's go take a look.
awesome. Well, this is my pretty cool rides. My brother's been collecting too. He's got nice hot rods. This one it was on Kijiji. It was all in primer, and guy left it in primer. Said whoever wants to paint it whatever color they want, they got the choice now. So, but anyways, he found it, and actually it's a good runner and it looks good. It's square, straight. Everything's the rust is it's good frames on it.
This is 81
This is 81 Camaro, yeah.
T-tops.
T-top in. And,
Has he had it running?
well, I don't know, he's left his keys, so. He let us do this, so we'll see what the. That's a pretty cool shifter. If we didn't raise so much havoc with the Cuda already that the cops are coming, we should take this one out.
Very nice. And I see he's got himself a Fox body as well.
Yeah, this is his what he always talked about growing up. This was his Mustangs. He just loved these Mustangs. He bought actually quite a few through the years. And this one's going to get done, I guess. But then along the travels, he's found these other ones. And
So I heard something about a Firebird though.
well, he's got, I think, in the next part of the shop.
No way. All right,
Yeah.
shop one complete. We're gonna move on to the next one.
All right, this is the one. This is the gem my brother got. That I'm a little bit jealous about. That he's got this one, but she's a sweet car.
Wow.
And this one, he had found a Kijiji, I think, and somebody was looking for a sled or a trade. And so anyways, my brother, I thought, well, he had an 800, that was pretty crazy, and he was getting pretty reckless with it, so he traded that off on this car. And the kids of the dad that owned this car were just so excited to get this Skidoo, and I was like, wow, geez, man, this thing's going up in value, that sled's going down in value, do the deal, get it and bring it home here. And so anyways, he did, and oh, she's just, everything's there to this one. He's got interior parts, he's got everything to do it now. And kind of a brother, I guess it's a mechanic, and said that we do the motor. So we're gonna do the motor on it and get it all tuned up. And
That there is a beauty.
this one is nice. I just love these cars.
Traded for a sled.
I'm a Dodge boy, but these and those Camaros, I don't know, they're hard not to like.
Oh, that's great. Well, thanks for the tour of your brother's property here. And this thing here, I'll tell you what, I can't wait to see this one running.
Oh yes, this one gives me goosebumps too.